Since her childhood, Maya had been an unlucky child. Everything went wrong for her. She often lost things, was always late, and at exams she picked the questions she knew the least about. After school, she failed to get into the college of her dreams, and out of desperation went to study to be a chef. After culinary school, Maya worked at a cafe near her home, but with her bad luck, she didn't stay long. She was fired due to a considerable shortage of food, although it was not her fault. However, she was an excellent cook, especially with pastries. On the advice of her friend Ainsley, Maya decided to bake goods at home to order. Surprisingly, her small business grew quickly, and soon she had a queue of customers. After her mother's death, the care of her father fell entirely on Maya's shoulders. Despite being only 67, her father had serious health problems and rarely left the house. Maya loved her father very much. He was the closest person to her, always supportive, and tried to understand his unfortunate daughter. "Maya, I really want to see you get married and give me grandchildren," he used to say to his daughter. "Dad, who am I going to marry? The first man I meet?" "You should look closely. You have Ainsley. Maybe she knows some single guys." "Daddy, when the time comes, I'll get married. I'm in no hurry." "You may have time, but I don't have much left. I'd like to see my grandson or granddaughter, and I want to know that you're in a decent hand," her father pleaded. "You'll see, Daddy, you'll see. You still have plenty of time. You're still quite young," Maya reassured him. However, the woman realized her father was right and time was running out. She was already 28, and there was no one decent on the horizon. One day, Maya had a cake to deliver. She hurried as fast as she could to the address. Usually the customers picked up their orders, but today was an exception, and Maya had to deliver the cake to the birthday boy. The guy who ordered it was in a cast and was expecting guests. He couldn't pick up his cake and probably didn't want to bother his relatives or friends. Maya rang the doorbell and heard, "Come in, it's open." She timidly entered and looked around. "With my luck, the only thing left is to run into a crazy person," thought Maya as she walked into the living room. A guy was sitting on the couch. One of his legs was in a cast and the other was wrapped in bandages. It was clear that getting up to open the door was a real problem for him. "Hello, did you order a cake?" "Yes, I did. I'm sorry to have to bother you and ask for a delivery, but you see the situation." He pointed to his feet. "Car accident. Now I'm still recovering." "Oh, what a pity. What do the doctors say? Will you walk again?" Maya asked. "Yes, of course, but only in a couple of months." "Do you live alone? Maybe you need some help," Maya suggested. The guy looked at Maya in surprise. "It's wonderful. In this day and age, a stranger offering to help." "What's surprising about it? It seems normal to me. We're human and should be kind and helpful to each other. So, do you need help?" "To be honest, a lot," the guy admitted, embarrassed. "What do you need? Tell me." "Nothing right now, but if you could come a couple of times a week to go grocery shopping and clean up, I'd pay you. My mum lives far away and I don't want to bother her. Besides, I don't want to stay in the same apartment with her for a few months," laughed the stranger. "She's a former prosecutor. She's something, I tell you." "I see. I sympathize. When do you need me to come over?" "Let's do it the day after tomorrow, around 11 o'clock. Can you make it?" "Yes, that's a convenient time." "How much will you charge?" "Nothing," said Maya honestly. "I'm not going to charge you. I'm just going to help you as a human being." The guy looked at her again in surprise, then looked her over from head to toe. "I don't know whether to call you amazing or weird." I prefer the first option, Maya smiled. A pretty young woman willing to work as a housekeeper for free for a strange guy. A paradox, honestly. So let's get acquainted. What's your name? Maya asked. Oh, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Brian. Look, Brian, my parents taught me that people need to be helped. It doesn't matter how old they are or what gender they are. If a person needs help, it's just the way things are. I'm just helping for free. If you don't like my candidacy, no problem, I won't come. No, on the contrary, I'm delighted with your candidacy. I'm just amazed by your humanity and kindness. And I apologize if I've offended you in any way. Come on Friday. I'll be waiting for you. Okay, I'll be there Friday at 11. Thank you. I'll be waiting for you. And then it hit Maya. Oh, it's your birthday today. I congratulate you. I wish you a speedy recovery and the most positive emotions in your life. The main thing is that you're alive and relatively healthy. The bones will heal, and you can move on with your life. Thank you. You're an optimist, aren't you? I don't know, but one must always believe in the best and appreciate what one has. Have a lovely day. See you on Friday. See you, and thanks again. On Friday, Maya came to Brian as promised, did the cleaning, went to the store for groceries and prepared food for a few days. Brian watched her actions admiringly and marvelled at her speed in the kitchen. You should work as a restaurant, as a cook, he said. Oh no, thanks. I've already worked there. I've had enough of that. Bad experience? Yeah, terrible. But there are other places. Maybe you should try it, as you've got the talent. You know, I was going to get a job at another place, but then, on the advice of a friend of mine, I started baking home. There are enough clients. I earn quite well, so why should I work for someone else if I work perfectly well for myself? In principle, it makes sense. If you earn enough, why not? And what do you do? I also work, but not for myself, but for a company. We develop computer programs. They chatted a little more, and then Maya went home. But since that day she began coming to Brian 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday. It was difficult for her, because the orders were scheduled for several weeks, but she could not refuse, seeing that the man needed her help. He could, of course, temporarily hire a nurse or an au pair, but it would take time to find a trustworthy person. Well, he needed help now. Besides, for some reason, Maya was very pleased to communicate with him. That's why Maya firmly decided she would go to him until Brian's cast was removed. Meanwhile, the longer she talked to him, the more she was attracted to this guy. Their communication was easy and simple. Brian told many interesting stories. She listened with her mouth open and didn't notice how she fell in love. Her father realized almost immediately that his daughter was in love. Maya, he turned to her, who at that moment was making the cream for the cake. Maya, baby, can you hear me? But Maya was lost in her fantasies and did not hear that her father had called her several times already. He got up from his chair and touched her arm. Are you all right? Her father worried. Yes, I'm fine. I need to finish the cream and run to Brian's. It's Wednesday. To Brian's? I see. Dad smiled and didn't say anything else. Maya happily got to the 3rd floor. She had baked a bento cake for Brian yesterday and was rushing to please him with a treat. He was a big sweet tooth. Entering the apartment, she saw a young woman sitting next to Brian and telling him something emotionally. Good afternoon, Maya greeted. The stranger turned around and looked at Maya. Brian, I'm going to go. I won't interfere with your housekeeper while she cleans. I'll drop by one of these days. Don't miss me, honey. She leaned over, kissed Brian on the cheek and headed out. Maya felt a hard pang of jealousy. She wanted to throw the cake at this young lady who dared to kiss her, Brian, but she restrained herself and simply asked, "Is this your girlfriend?" "No, it's a co-worker who came to visit me," Brian answered calmly. "I see. Do you always kiss your co-workers?" Maya could not resist the question, and Brian was clearly surprised by it. "Is there a problem with that?" he asked, clearly teasing her. "No, I was just asking." "But I think someone here is jealous," Brian smiled. He was flattered by Maya's reaction to the other woman's presence. "Jealous? Why would she be?" Brian raised himself on his left leg, which was already free of bandages, and leisurely walked up close to Maya. "And I see the way you're looking at me," he whispered to her, and Maya felt a lump in her throat with excitement. "Are you saying you don't like me and don't care who comes to visit me?" "No, I care," Maya said barely audibly, but deep inside she scolded herself. "What are you doing? You shouldn't say anything about your feelings, even if you want to." She barely restrained herself from kissing him because he was so close as never before. But Brian took the initiative, leaned over, and tenderly kissed Maya. The kiss was the kind that makes you dizzy and weakens your legs. A kiss after which you want to continue, and Maya wanted to, and Brian did too. He took Maya's hand and led her to the bedroom. An hour later, Maya looked happily and contentedly at Brian. Now, she was only worried about one question. What would happen next? "Don't you think we rushed things?" she asked finally, hoping he would deny it, but Brian was silent, and that scared Maya. She didn't know what he was thinking or what to say, so she just waited. "It seems to me," Brian began, and Maya tensed, anticipating something that would make her feel bad. "You would move in with me. What do you think?" "What do you mean, move in?" Maya didn't understand. "In the most direct sense. Let's live together." It sounded so simple. Maya felt a little offended, as if he had suggested they go to the movies, not live together. She wondered, "Brian, have you ever been in a serious relationship?" "Yes, I and my ex-girlfriend lived together for 2 years, and then she left for someone else. Apparently he was better than me," Brian said sadly. "I wouldn't have left you." "I know." "How?" Maya wondered. "There's no one like you on this planet. You're a unique girl. That's why I want you to live with me." "I thought you wanted to live with me because you love me." Maya was offended. "Well, that goes without saying." The phrase sounded simple, without feeling or emotion, but Maya didn't notice. She considered it a declaration of love and was glad that Brian loved her. "I'll just have to talk to my dad. I'll talk to him tonight, and tomorrow I'll pack my things and move in with you." "Oh," Maya suddenly remembered, "I have to take all my belongings and give my new address to my clients. You won't mind if I continue my business at your place?" "Maya, don't talk nonsense. Not at my place, but at our place. It's your home now too, and why should I mind you doing what you love? I'll go to work too. That's fine. I only have one condition." The last sentence sounded stern and serious. Maya tensed up. "What is it?" she asked, confused and not knowing what to expect. "Will you bake your charming cakes for me too?" Brian laughed. "Phew, you startled me. Of course I will," Maya smiled. When she got home, Maya immediately informed her father that she would now be staying with Brian, but he was not pleased about this. "Why doesn't he call you to marry? I don't like all this. But you're an adult and it's your decision." "Daddy, don't worry, everything will be fine. The main thing is that we love each other." "I don't believe in strong feelings when things happen so fast." "But it was you who wanted me to get married and give you a grandson or granddaughter. What's wrong now?" "You're not getting married. You're just going to live with him." "We're definitely getting married." Maya lied. "We've talked about it. We just need to make some money. Brian hasn't worked in so long, and a wedding is very costly." "I have money. I've been saving for your wedding." "Daddy, I'm begging you, don't push me. I promise you everything will be fine. We'll get married." "All right, do what you want. You're an adult. I trust you." "Thank you. That's why I love you so much." The next day, Maya moved in with Brian. And after 3 days, he finally took off the cast. Life went on as scheduled. Work, home, work. Brian spent a lot of time at work, often late, but the salary was very decent. After a couple of months, he suggested that Maya study for a driver's license. "Why do I need a license? I don't have a car," Maya reasoned. "So let's buy you a car," Brian suggested. "It will be more convenient for you to deliver orders and buy groceries. You can increase the number of orders that way." Maya looked at Brian in surprise. "I'm at the stove all day. If I increase the orders, I'll sleep at the stove." "Come on, don't make that up. Look, I'm at work all day and come in late. You can make not 2 but 4 cakes a day. That's twice as much profit. I think you should earn while you can and save for the future." "I'll think about it," Maya agreed. Time went on. The number of orders was growing fast, and it was getting harder and harder to work at home. Maya decided to talk to her dad about it. "Daddy, I have a serious talk for you." "What is it? Are you getting married?" Dad asked hopefully. "No, not yet. I wanted to ask you for a loan. My business is expanding. It's no longer realistic to fulfill all the orders at home. I want to rent a space, and I'll pay you back as soon as I make money." "Maya, I collected this money for your most important day in life, not for business. I'm sorry." "Daddy, are you serious?" "Absolutely, I'm sorry, but with your luck, you shouldn't start a business. That's my opinion." "But I already have business. I'll just change the place, and that's it." "That's your right, but I won't give you any money for it, only for wedding." Maya was offended. So her father doesn't believe in her at all. Maybe he's right, and she shouldn't expand. With her luck, she could lose everything. But if you're afraid of everything, nothing will ever work out. So Maya decided to talk to Brian about taking out a loan, but to her surprise, he was also strongly against it. "Why do you need a space? Can you explain? Don't you have enough space here? During the whole day, I am not at home. The apartment is all yours. Why waste money on nonsense?" "I don't cook all over the apartment, only in the kitchen, and it's small. I don't have room to store all I need," Maya tried to explain. "You used to have enough space here before. Anyway, I don't want to fight about it, but if you want my opinion, I'm totally against the loan." Not getting any support from anyone, Maya resigned herself to it. Her mood was ruined because she was so fired up about the idea of expansion. She had already imagined how she would grow to her own pastry shop and become known throughout the city, but it was not to be. The next day, Maya woke up completely shattered. She felt nauseous and had no energy at all. This continued for several days, and finally, Brian persuaded her to go to the clinic, where Maya learned that she was pregnant. Brian took the news calmly and without emotion. "We need to get married," he said just as calmly. "Need to? You mean if it weren't for the pregnancy, we wouldn't have gotten married?" Maya clarified. "Why would we? Everything is fine with us. A stamp in my passport doesn't affect my attitude towards you in any way." "Do people get married only because of the stamp in their passport?" Maya wondered. "I have no idea why people get married. Probably so that the children have official parents." "You have a peculiar understanding of weddings," Maya wondered. I always thought people get married because they love each other and want to be together for life. And who's stopping them from being together if they're not married? Is it against the law to live together without marriage? No, but it's an entirely different status. Maya tried to persuade her lover, but to no avail. Maya, enough already. We have to get married and we'll get married. No problem. A month later, they had a wedding. There were few guests, only 20 people. The day before the wedding, Maya met her future mother-in-law, who clearly did not like her. Do not worry about it at all, Brian reassured. She will go to her city in 2 days after the wedding, and you will only hear her sometimes on the phone. My mum is a hard person. Even I cannot find a common language with her. So, a negative attitude towards you is quite expected. As Brian said, Maya's mother-in-law left in a few days and everything went back to normal. About 3 weeks after the wedding, Maya needed to deliver another order. The cake was huge and she carried it with difficulty up the stairs. Suddenly, she stumbled and fell with the cake. A sharp pain in her stomach twisted Maya in half. Following Maya up the stairs was a woman who immediately called an ambulance. The result of the fall was the loss of the baby. Maya was in shock. Why? Why am I so unlucky? Will it ever end? I can't take it any more. As soon as something good happens, an endless stream of bad luck follows. Maya cried, lying in the ward. Brian visited his wife a couple of times and told her not to get upset and that there would be children. Maybe this isn't the time, he suggested. Maya looked at her husband with tearful eyes. How is it not the time? When is the time? Don't you care at all? No, of course I'm upset too. It's just that I realise no matter what, we have to move on. If we can't change the situation, then we have to change our attitude. Brian, I didn't lose my purse or scratch my car. I lost our baby, our little man, yours and mine. How can you talk about it like that? Tears streamed from her eyes, full of grief and resentment. Maya understood that a man can't comprehend what a woman feels at such a moment, but to talk about losing a child like losing a mitten was too much. Go away. I want to be alone. After 3 days, Maya was discharged home, but she was different. She seemed to have grown up overnight. Her carefree cheerfulness had vanished, and she didn't want to do anything. This lasted nearly 7 months. Clients gradually disappeared because Maya refused everyone and didn't want to make cakes anymore. Maya, what are you doing? Cakes are your favourite thing. Ainsley tried to support her friend. I can't. I always have plenty of orders for children's birthday cakes, and I can't, you know, Maya said and started to cry. It was painful to see her like this. Something had to be done to get her out of this state, and Ainsley called Brian. Listen, you need to take her somewhere on vacation, a change of scenery. She needs positive emotions. I can't. I have an important project. What's more important to you? Your wife or your project? My wife and the project. Listen, why don't you go on vacation with her? Huh? Wherever you want, I'll pay for it. Ainsley was stunned by the offer. On one hand, she wouldn't refuse a vacation at someone else's expense, but on the other, she realised that her friend needed her husband's support. Though in this case, maybe friendly support would be better. OK, I'll think about it and talk to Maya. I'll let you know later. Ainsley managed to persuade Maya to go on vacation. She chose Hawaii for the vacation because she had long dreamed of going there. Brian paid for the trip for his wife and Ainsley, and the friends flew to the islands. The vacation did Maya good. She calmed down and seemed to let go of the situation a little. Maya, I understand that it's hard for you, said Ainsley. Yes, I don't understand how hard, but you have to move on somehow. You have a father who is distressed about you. And Brian depends on you a lot, so you have to be strong. Yeah, I guess you're right. I need to pull myself together and move forward. It's not like I can change the situation anyway. 2 weeks flew by quickly, and the results were obvious. Maya returned home, thinking about what she could cook to please her husband and show him that she was almost the same as before. But upon entering the apartment, Maya saw another woman's shoes. Weird, Brian's at work. He should be there. Maybe he hired someone to clean the apartment for my arrival, Maya wondered. She made her way to the kitchen. There was a bottle, 2 glasses, and a plate of fruit on the table. It didn't seem like the presence of a cleaning lady. Suddenly Maya heard unmistakable sounds coming from the bedroom and went in that direction. More than anything, she wanted to see one of Brian's friends with his girlfriend. More than anything, she wanted to see one of Brian's friends, not a girlfriend. She opened the door and froze. Brian was with the same co-worker who had visited during his sick leave. "What's going on here?" Maya asked loudly, startling at the couple. "You're back?" Brian asked fearfully. "You're supposed to fly in tomorrow, aren't you?" "No. Our trip ended and the plane was today. I told you," Maya replied calmly, though she was in shock and barely understood what was happening. Brian got up from the bed, threw on his shirt and approached his wife. "You know, I'm actually glad you caught us. I'm tired of hiding. Rochelle and I have been in a relationship for a long time, but she was married. Now she divorced. You and I have nothing to do with each other anymore. So I'm leaving." "What an abomination. Ugh, I'm disgusted to even look at you. I never thought I'd live with such a moral freak." Maya turned around and left the apartment, slamming the door loudly. She walked down the stairs and cried, "I'm not just unlucky, I'm cursed, I guess. God, why are you doing this to me?" She had no other words or questions. Maya came out of the entrance and sat on a bench. She didn't understand how to move forward or where to go. To her father? And what to say? That she is a complete failure? She couldn't even find a decent husband? Maya took out her cell phone and dialed Ainsley's number. "Hi, can I come over?" "Dear, what's wrong?" Ainsley asked, realizing that something terrible had happened. "I left Brian. Or, more precisely, he left me for his mistress. I just caught them in her apartment. Or rather, his apartment." "What a nightmare! Come, of course, I'm waiting." Ainsley stood by the window waiting for her friend. Why is she so unlucky? Just when things were starting to get better, here we go again. What should I say to her now? What words should I use to comfort her? Maya went up to the apartment and, looking at her friend, sobbed loudly. Ainsley cried with her. Her heart was torn with pity and compassion. She let Maya stay at her place for a couple of days, until she could at least somewhat come to her senses. "Maya, what are you going to do now?" "Go back home. Do I have any other options?" "Well, don't lose heart. I believe that everything will still be all right for you." Ainsley tried to support her friend. "You're an optimist," said Maya sadly, "but I don't believe in it. I think I don't belong in this world at all." "Ah, friend, don't you dare say that. You're already scaring me," Ainsley said, genuinely scared after Maya said that. "Listen, dear, let's get drunk. You need to relieve stress." "You know I don't like it." "Well, in your case, it'll be the cure. 2 glasses of good wine never hurt anyone. It'll help clear your head." "All right, let's do it," agreed Maya. "Then pack up and let's go to the store. I'm not leaving you alone." "Are you afraid I'll do something to myself?" "Don't worry. My father needs me. If it wasn't for him, I would have done something a long time ago," Maya said honestly. "Maya, I might be saying something stupid now, but look at the situation with Brian from another side. After all, He cheated on you from the beginning. Why would you want a husband like that? It's better to be alone than with such a man. Do I have a choice? Or suitors? Or maybe I've had a lot of them. Who cares how many you've had? I'm not married yet, either, so what? So I haven't met the right man yet. But I'm not going to marry the first guy I meet, am I? I don't know, Ainsley. I don't know. That night the friends got drunk. 3 glasses of wine were enough for Maya. The nervous tension had taken its toll. The next day she returned home to her father. At first he was very upset that Maya's family life was unsuccessful, and when he found out what Brian had done, he was glad that everything had cleared up so quickly. So, you should be happy that it's all coming to light now. Imagine living with a man all his life and then finding out he had lived with 2 families all these years. You still have time to build a new relationship. Daddy, where do I get a new relationship? With my luck, I can't even find a homeless guy, clean him up and live with him. Don't be silly. You'll meet Mr. Right. I feel that you will, and very soon. If you remember, I didn't like this Brian right away. Days went by. Maya started waiting for Brian to call and say that he had changed his mind and wanted to live with her, to ask her to come back. But time passed and he didn't call. In 2 weeks, Maya found out that Brian had filed for divorce. Maya was devastated. She eagerly wanted to return to her husband, but didn't know how. Ainsley, how can I get him back? Maybe go to his house and ask for forgiveness? She turned to her friend for advice. Ask for forgiveness for what? Ainsley was shocked. For being a bad wife, throwing tantrums after losing a child, crying a lot. He probably didn't like it all, got tired of it, and that's why he left for someone else. Maya, wake up. He had that mistress all the time for years. Your tantrums have nothing to do with it. But I love him. I want him to be with me, not her, cried Maya. Look, Maya, no matter what you say or do, you can't force him to be with you. Remember that. I'll go to the divorce process and talk to him there. Maybe he'll change his mind about divorcing me. Dear, what are you saying? You must have some pride, Maya. I don't want to be proud. I want to be happy. And I won't be happy without him, Maya repeated stubbornly. Do as you please. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of repeating the same thing to you, said Ainsley, who was tired of listening to this nonsense. The divorce was scheduled for 11:30. Maya had been anxious since morning. She woke up around 6, drank 3 cups of coffee, and didn't let the phone out of her hands, hoping that Brian would call and say he had changed his mind and the divorce was cancelled. But Brian didn't call, and hope was melting away every minute. Maya put on a pantsuit, styled her hair, but didn't put on makeup. Maybe if Brian sees her like this, he will feel sorry for her and change his mind. Maya went to the venue, on complete autopilot. She stopped several times, deciding whether to go further. After all, if she didn't show up there, the divorce would be postponed, and she would have time to reconcile with her husband. Maya looked at her watch. It wasn't 11 o'clock yet. She sat down on a park bench near the necessary building. Why, to cry so heavily? She heard a woman's voice. Maya looked up. Across from her stood 2 women of strange appearance. One was wearing a dress, a hoodie, numerous bracelets and rings, and a bright necklace. The other looked equally unusual. A long skirt, a multicoloured shirt, and many pieces of jewellery on her arms. She had beads around her neck and dark glasses over her eyes. Maya felt uncomfortable. Excuse me, are you saying that to me? Maya asked. To you, baby, said the woman, with the beads around her neck. Why are you worrying so much? After all, you've already been through grief, and this is just a small thing. How do you know? Maya was surprised. I know all about you. Would you like me to tell you? I have no money, warned Maya. And who told you that I need money? I don't. The best reward for me is when people are happy. When you become rich, then you can pay me, if you'd like to. Oh, don't make me laugh. Getting rich with my luck is out of the question. I can only go bankrupt. Maya smiled for some reason. She felt amused by these words. Well, laugh. Laughter is better than tears. And as for your bad luck, that will soon pass. You better listen to what I have to say. You don't have to try to hold on to your husband. Let him go. Forgive him and let him go. Don't cling to the past or you'll miss the future, you know. You need to get a divorce and wish your ex-husband happiness. Only sincerely and from the heart. Only then will you meet your true love and be happy. How do you know that? It sounds fantastic. And you believe me, it will be. You have a very bright future waiting for you, happy and secure. But you have to let go of the past first. I wish I knew how to do that, said Maya sadly. It's elementary. Imagine your spouse and his mistress before your eyes. Mentally wish them happiness, sincerely from the heart. Let everything work out for them. Maya wondered how this woman knew so much about her and Brian. Suddenly, Maya thought that the women in front of her were actresses hired by the creative Ainsley to put on a show and make Maya believe that she didn't need Brian. I see you doubt the veracity of my words, smiled the woman with beads on her neck. Do you remember how in the 3rd grade you stole a beautiful pencil from the teacher's desk and you never admitted it to anyone? I know you remember. After all, you are still tormented by this story. Maya blushed. She had never been so ashamed before. It was true. No one, not a single soul in the world, knew of this transgression of hers, for which she was truly ashamed. Do you believe me now? The woman smiled. I do. I apologize. Why are you apologizing? You have the right not to believe the first person you meet. That's fine. I just proved to you that I'm not a liar, of which there are many, by the way. Go, baby. You gotta go. And don't forget what I told you. May I ask you another question? Maya suddenly asked. Yes, although I already know what you want to ask. Don't worry. You'll have children, 2, and your father will see both grandchildren. That was quite a shock. This was something Maya hadn't expected. She'd seen things like this in movies, but it wasn't real. And here, in real life, such miracles happened. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much you've helped me right now. Where can I find you? Maya asked. Why? If I need to, I'll find you myself. Thank you so much. Go, it's already time and don't worry. He'll be very sorry he did that to you, the woman said lastly. Who, Brian? Maya clarified. Yes, replied the woman, and taking her companion standing next to her under her arm, walked on. Only then did Maya realize that the woman with the beads around her neck was blind. Wow, I've never experienced such a thing before. I must tell Ainsley. She'll be amazed, thought Maya. She had already come to the building, but suddenly stopped, took a step to the side, and closed her eyes. The most hated image appeared in front of her eyes. Her husband and his mistress. Maya calmly visualized their faces and mentally said 3 times in a row, I'm letting you go. Be happy. And she suddenly felt better. I wonder how it works. I didn't do anything. I just said the words, but it made me feel better. It's a paradox, thought Maya as she walked inside. Brian came to the meeting with Rochelle. For some reason, Maya felt amused by it, as if Rochelle was afraid to let him go alone to meet his wife. Without letting Brian utter a word, Maya said, I totally agree with the divorce, and I wish my ex-spouse happiness from the bottom of my heart." After all the papers were signed, Brian approached Maya. "I didn't expect such an act from you. I was sure you would cause a scene and ask for time to reconcile. You're a wonderful woman. I told you that right away." He lowered his head and added quietly, "I'm sorry it happened and didn't work out." "That's okay. It's just an experience. Be happy, Brian. I'm sorry I have to go." "When are you going to get your stuff and give me the keys?" "One of these days I'll call you." Maya waved and walked towards the exit. She was in a great mood and felt incredibly light. Whether it was the effect of the blind woman's words or letting go of the situation was unknown, but Maya felt light and at peace for the first time in months since the loss of the child. She called Ainsley. "Hi, friend. What are you doing tonight?" "Hi." Ainsley was extremely surprised by Maya's good mood. She hadn't heard her so cheerful and happy in a long time. "How are you doing? Have you reconciled with your husband?" "No, I'm an officially divorced woman," answered Maya cheerfully. "Maya, what have you been drinking?" Ainsley asked, still puzzled. "No, where could I have been drinking? I've just come out of my divorce meeting. Or do you think they serve champagne after a divorce?" Maya laughed. "Then I don't understand why you're so pleased," Ainsley admitted frankly. "Come to me and I'll tell you everything," Maya intrigued. "I'll cook something delicious. We can have an occasion. Expect you at 6. "Okay, deal," said Ainsley, and disconnected, and thought, maybe she's experiencing unreasonable joy from the stress. It happens. Very strange behaviour. But when Ainsley arrived at Maya's house in the evening and her friend told her everything, she was relieved about Maya's state of mind, although Ainsley was extremely surprised to hear about such an amazing fortune-teller. "I honestly don't believe in fortune-tellers and psychics. They are just good psychologists who can read our emotions and experiences and predict the future," Ainsley said. "No, Ainsley, I'm telling you, she's real. She told me something that no one could know and couldn't have guessed because I had long forgotten about it," Maya insisted. "That's why I believe her prophecy." "Well, let's see how it goes," agreed Ainsley, not wanting to argue and ruin her friend's mood. Maya went on with her life. Slowly she began to get her old clients back and acquire new ones. She signed up for a masterclass to improve her cake decorating skills and realized a long-time dream by buying a kitten named Marquis. Her father looked at his daughter and marveled. It was as if she had blossomed anew. "Maya, I'm so glad you're recovered from everything and are yourself again," he said to his daughter. "I want you to do well. You know, I've been thinking. Maybe I was wrong then, but I think that now you could rent for your own business." It was Maya's turn to be surprised. "Daddy, are you serious? You were against it." "Totally serious. Why not take risks while you're young?" "We'll have to find out and do the math. May I ask you something?" "Sure." "You didn't want to give the money because of Brian, right? Because you didn't like him?" "Yes," her father said honestly. "I didn't trust him." "I see. Okay, Daddy, I'll find out and tell you." Maya found a place, researched everything, and calculated the funds needed. Maya's father's savings covered only half the amount, and she told him they would need to take out a loan. "Are you ready to risk it?" "You know, I'm tired of being afraid of bad luck," Maya said cheerfully, "and I found loans with favourable interest rates for small businesses. If everything goes as planned, I can easily pay it back, maybe even before the deadline." "I believe in you, my dear. You will definitely succeed," her father said. For the next few weeks, Maya dealt with paperwork and prepared the room for business. She rented equipment, bought groceries and set everything up. She set up a small shop window to sell some items locally. The location was convenient near a university, offices, and residential neighbourhoods. To her great surprise, the business quickly took off. Past clients, learning that Maya was opening a pastry shop, came for cakes, cupcakes, and cookies. It's been 2 years. During this time, Maya opened 2 confectionery shops and 2 small kiosks with fresh baked goods. In addition to sweets, they baked baguettes, loaves, and puffs with savoury fillings. Maya's father was proud of her. "You see, luck loves you. You're doing great." "Daddy, I've got a surprise for you. I bought you a trip to a cool sanatorium," Maya said to her father. Seeing his attempt to object, she added quickly, "No objections. You're going and that's final. You need to improve your health. I can afford it now and send you to rest. The place is gorgeous. You'll love it and want to go again." "For how long?" asked the man, resigned. 24 days. And don't make a face like I'm forcing you to eat semolina. You're an adult. You must realize that at your age, you'd need to take special care of your health. So think about what books to buy so you won't be bored. You have 2 days to pack." "Yes, sir," Father said jokingly and raised his hand to his head, saluting like a soldier. "Well done." The next day, Ainsley called. "Well, hello, business lady. Won't you treat an old friend to a piece of delicious cake?" "Hi, Ainsley, I'm a bit busy, to be honest. Let me send Dad to the sanatorium tomorrow, and we can meet tonight." "OK, let's go to Deja Vu then," Ainsley suggested. "Why? I don't know that place." "Oh, it's a new restaurant that opened a couple of months ago. It's excellent. Shall we book a table?" "Book it for 8 p.m. tomorrow. I can't make it earlier." "Great. See you tomorrow then." The next day, in the morning, Maya helped her father pack and took him to the train station. Taking her father's word to follow all the procedures and not to come home early, Maya sent him off to rest. She had many things planned for the day and was still busy until evening. While driving and talking on the phone, she didn't notice and cut off another car. The problem was, the car was costly, which meant big trouble. The driver jumped out shouting, "Where did you buy your license, you moron?" and strode determinedly toward Maya's car. Maya shrank back, anticipating the confrontation, and rolled down the window a little. Seeing that the culprit of the accident was a woman, the first driver stopped, looked carefully at Maya and suddenly asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine," Maya replied in surprise and got out of the car. "I didn't scratch your car, did I?" "No, I managed to slow down in time. Good reaction, but you shouldn't drive like that, or you could have an accident." "I'm sorry. I don't usually drive like this. It's just a hectic day." "All right then. Have a good day and good luck on the road," the man said and walked towards his car. "Wait!" Maya caught up with the man and handed him her business card. "Here, take it. You'll get a 30% discount on any order as compensation." The man took the business card and asked in surprise, "So this is your pastry shop?" "Yes, it is," Ainsley said, and extended her hand for a handshake. The stranger smiled and took her hand. "Stephen Ryback, restaurateur." "A colleague, then," Maya smiled. At that moment, Stephen's phone rang. Yes, I'm on my way, literally 5 minutes," he said to someone on the phone, and then to Maya, "Sorry, I'm rushing. I'll definitely come for the cake. They're great, I've tasted them." He got into the car and drove away. Maya watched him leave and thought that for the first time in her life, she was glad for her inattention. She met a colleague, a very handsome colleague. Stephen was about the same height as Maya, but athletic and very attractive. She even smiled at her thoughts, thinking of a man as interesting for the first time since her divorce. Yes, I clearly lack a personal life, or rather, it is completely absent, thought Maya, and smiled again. In the evening, She arrived at the Déjà Vu restaurant a little late. Ainsley was already waiting for her at the table. "You're late." "I'm sorry. I've had a hectic day. I sent my dad to a sanatorium in the morning, then I had a small accident, then the tax office, then the suppliers. I just got off work. I haven't even had an opportunity to change," Maya ranted. "Okay, stop, dear. Have a glass of champagne and relax. You're speaking like a hunted horse. Tell me, is your dad glad about the trip? And what about the accident? Nobody was hurt." "You know my dad. He is not overexcited, but he went. I hope he likes it there. The place is gorgeous." Maya drank champagne and slowly relaxed. "And the accident, it was nothing special. I didn't notice the car on the turn. Everyone is alive and unharmed, even the cars. But the driver was so handsome." Maya rolled her eyes dreamily. "That's interesting. Tell me about it." "Oh, Ainsley, I think I urgently need a man, or I'll soon be throwing myself at passers-by. And by the way, he is in the restaurant business. I didn't ask what kind of restaurant." "Oh, come on." "Yes, he just got a phone call and left quickly, but I gave him my business card and he promised to come back for the cake." "That's already good. Let's hope he will come soon." Ainsley smiled. The women placed the order, drank champagne and chatted merrily. Both were in a great mood. Suddenly, Maya heard behind her, "You haven't crashed my car, so you decided to continue at my restaurant." Maya turned around and saw Stephen standing behind her. "Oh, good evening. Is this your restaurant?" "Actually, it's mine. Is something wrong? Any complaints about the service?" Stephen asked in a hostess manner. No, everything is fine," Maya smiled. "Wonderful. You know, I just saw a familiar hooligan, and that's why I decided to ask how things were going. Since everything's fine for her, then rest up. Have a nice evening." "Perhaps you'd like to join us?" Maya asked, surprised at herself. "Maybe, but a little later." Stephen smiled and stepped away from the table. "I take it this handsome guy is the driver you almost crushed today," Ainsley said. "And I understand you, though he's really handsome. If I were you, I'd turn on all my charm and try to charm him." "What if he's married? He's well into his 30s. "I'd say he's into his 40s, but you can flirt and find out if he's married or not." Then their orders arrived and the women began to eat. The food was excellent indeed. After finishing the main course, Maya and Ainsley continued to chat and joke. Both were in a great mood. The waitress came over and placed another bottle of champagne and a plate of fruit on the table. "We didn't order any more champagne," Ainsley said calmly. "It's on the house." The waitress smiled and placed a third glass on the table. Maya began to worry. She realized that Stephen would be joining them now, but she had already drunk a little, relaxed, and was not coordinating her words well. "Ainsley, don't leave me with him," she begged her friend. "But you really need to relax." "Well, Ainsley, are you my friend or his?" "Yours, of course, but—" She didn't finish because Stephen pulled up a chair and sat down next to the women. Maya was shaking inside with excitement. There was some incredible, tantalizing smell coming from Stephen. After about 10 minutes, Ainsley apologized and said she urgently needed to leave. Maya almost shrieked with indignation, pleading with her eyes not to leave her alone with Stephen. But Ainsley was adamant. Leaving, she leaned over to Maya and said quietly, "I am your friend. That's why I'm leaving you two alone. Have a good evening and call me tomorrow." Maya was afraid to be alone with Stephen. She and Ainsley drank a bottle of champagne between them, but for non-drinking Maya it was too much, plus a glass from the second bottle. Meanwhile, the champagne did its job, and Maya started to say, "Stephen, may I ask you a question? Just answer honestly, please." "Of course. I always answer honestly. Stephen smiled as he watched Maya getting drunker before his eyes. Are you married? No, I never have been. Why is that? Are you against an official relationship? No, just didn't have time at first. And now I'm actively searching for a soulmate, but so far unsuccessful. He kept smiling. He definitely liked Maya, especially now that she was in such a relaxed state and not trying to keep up appearances. What about you? Are you married? He touched her arm, and it was as if Maya had been electrocuted. She was already struggling to hold herself together, and here was such a gentle touch. Maya turned her whole body toward Stephen and looked into his eyes. I'm about to do something I'll be terribly ashamed of tomorrow, but I'm going to do it anyway. She leaned down and kissed him first. He responded. Maya was already dizzy, and now her legs were no longer obeying her as well. Walk me home, she said quietly to Stephen. With pleasure. Maya woke up and looked around. Where was she? This was definitely not her apartment. She was sleeping on a huge bed covered with a plaid blanket. Oh no, what a nightmare! What have I done? Echoed in her head. The door opened and Stephen entered the room with a tray in his hands. Good morning, Sleeping Beauty, he smiled. Why Sleeping Beauty? Maya didn't understand. Because you said so yesterday. You're Sleeping Beauty, and I woke you up with a kiss like a real prince. Oh, I'm ready to fall through the ground now, admitted the woman. Then you'll have to take me with you. Why? Because I now know exactly who my soulmate is. Stephen smiled again and winked at Maya, embarrassing her more. I'm sorry. I'm really embarrassed. I don't drink at all. It's all Ainsley's fault. She said to me, you need to relax. Have some champagne. What a nightmare. So, that's who I should thank. Your friend and the champagne, laughed Stephen. You're having fun, aren't you? I'm ready to fall through the ground, and you're having fun? Stephen set the coffee and breakfast tray aside and sat down next to her. I know what I need to do to make you not want to fall through the ground any more, he said, and kissed Maya. Stephen was an incredible man. Maya used to think Brian was the best, and now she realized that Stephen was the man of her dreams, and she didn't want to go anywhere from here. A week later, Maya moved her things and the cat to Stephen's place. They started living together. Stephen was busy with his 4 restaurants, and Maya with her pastry shop. They were preparing for the wedding. By the time Maya's father returned from the sanatorium, they had already applied for the wedding. Maya's father immediately liked his daughter's fiancé. Stephen was so polite, cultured, educated, and intelligent that he couldn't help but charm his future father-in-law. You see, daughter, everything is fine with you. A decent husband and a successful business. So now I don't worry about the life ahead of you. Yes, Daddy, you were right. Maya and Stephen were preparing for the wedding. There was just under a week to go. Today Maya had to pick up her dress from the salon. She got into the car and was about to go when the phone rang. Without looking at the screen, Maya answered. Hello? She heard a familiar voice and could not believe her own ears. It was Brian. Hi, Brian, are you on business? I just don't have much time, so talk fast, Maya said. We need to meet. We? I don't need to. Please, can you please make time for me? Maya hesitated. I'll be near Central Park in 2 hours. If it's convenient, let's meet there. Yeah, okay, I'll be there, thanks. Maya picked up her dress and drove to downtown. There she had another meeting about organising the wedding. After chatting with the organiser, she drove up to the park. Brian was standing at the entrance, apparently afraid to let Maya pass. She got out of the car and walked over to him. Brian looked at his ex-wife and marvelled at how much she had changed. You look wonderful, he said. Thank you. Let's make this quick, I really don't have much time. Maya, I wanted to apologize to you for real. I'm so guilty. I just now realized what an idiot I was. Brian, I accept your apology, and I don't resent you. It's been a long time coming. It's just the way it is. It's an experience. Things didn't work out with Rochelle. I left her 6 months ago. She's different, not like you. You're sincere, caring and real. She's selfish. Sorry for you. What do you want from me? I want you to come back to me. I regretted every day that I did that to you. It's like my mind went blank because of Rochelle. Forgive me and come back. Maya looked at her ex-husband in surprise. That strange woman with the beads was right about everything, even that. Brian, I'm not coming back to you. Not because I'm happy with another man, but because you're not my man. You're my unfortunate past, and I have a happy future ahead of me. I'll tell you something else. I'm not your woman. You were just comfortable and convenient with me, but you never loved me. You will definitely meet another woman, but it's definitely not me. Goodbye. Maya turned around and went to her car. She drove to her happy future with a calm heart. There was no resentment towards Brian. She had let him go back then, on the day of their divorce, and she didn't remember it anymore, nor did she want to. She picked up her cell phone and dialed Stephen. Where are you? She asked. In Deja Vu, what's wrong? Stephen sounded excited. I'll be right in 5 minutes. Okay, said Stephen fearfully. Maya drove up to the restaurant, where her fiancé was already waiting for her. Maya, what's wrong? Maya walked over and kissed her lover. Nothing. I just wanted to kiss you urgently. Well, that's good then. Don't scare me like that anymore. I thought there was a problem. Don't worry, we'll be fine. I know it for sure. Maya didn't know yet that very soon there would be another event in her life that would make her absolutely happy, and doubly so. Maya would have twins, a boy and a girl, but that would come later, after the wedding.